Hello, everyone. Our speaker today is Michael Conroy, who is the development coordinator for A Call to Men, a UK organization that, from all I can tell, believes men and boys are unable to be either loving and respectful all on their own, so they need to be taught to be better men. Wow, just reading that has raised my estrogen levels. So, let's take a look.
My name's Michael Conroy.
Hi, Michael. I'm Scribe.
And I've got too much power. Before I explore that idea, I'd like to ask a question. I'd like to go out on a limb and say, if you don't mind, could you raise your hands if you believe love is important to every single human being?
Well, I would bet it's not a big deal to sociopaths, so yeah, I would not have raised my hand.
Okay, thanks. One more bit and it's not a Mexican wave.
It's not a Mexican wave? Well, shucks. That might have actually made this video a little bit more fun to watch.
Can you raise your hands if you think friendship is important to every single human being?
Again, I think of sociopaths. So, no, I don't agree.
Okay, I agree. I agree with that kind of response, which I think was pretty unanimous.
Pretty unanimous. Pretty unanimous. Sounds right up there with explicitly implied.
Fine, let's park that. Let's keep that. Here I am.
Rock you like a hurricane?
I'm middle-aged. I'm middle class. I'm able-bodied. And I'm white. A white man. And when I used to look in the mirror, I just see me.
You used to see you. But now you see what? A collection of arbitrary characteristics that make you merely a soulless cog in a mechanism of pure evil? That's just a guess.
But now when I look in the mirror, I see the reality that all of those things actually give me some cultural status, cultural credit, you could say, something I can spend.
Cultural credit you can spend. Okay, well, what is the exchange rate on white skin against the euro these days?
Which equate to power. And it's a power that I haven't built for myself. It's one I inherited. I didn't need to do anything at all to get it. It was just there when I was born.
Yes, you were born with power. You didn't earn anything you have come to possess in life because you had the foregone conclusion at birth that you would be successful. Which also means that any credentials or qualifications that you would claim validate your standing on that stage, or acting as development coordinator for A Call to Men, are illegitimate. Or are you the rare, special, white male snowflake that actually earned something in life?
And it's a power that insulates me against lots of things. It insulates me against racism. It insulates me against sexism. It's a power that allows me and people who look like me to dominate commerce, politics, culture, journalism, all kinds of things for centuries.
Huh. So you are immune from being elevated or denigrated on the basis of race and gender. Except, of course, in the sense of anyone indicting boys as inherently flawed for being, well, male. But our speaker wouldn't know anything about that. And he is, obviously, naturally entitled to enter and achieve success in any of the fields he mentioned. But of course, by achieve, I mean given, because men don't have to work for their power or position in life, it's just handed to them. Got it.
The interesting thing, though, I mean, it doesn't make us invincible. We still get ill, you get depressed. I suffer from depression.
You suffer from depression? But why? You have nothing to worry about. You are a white, middle-class, able-bodied male. Well, unless what you're claiming to be true is nonsense, of course. But that can't be. You're male and white, so you must be right.
We grieve, we have accidents, bad things happen, and when people say to people like me, middle-class white men, that we are somehow kind of responsible for certain things, we say, yeah, but look at my life, it's not perfect, I'm not happy. No, but we have to look at us all together and realise what we've got that perhaps we don't deserve. And we just need to be honest about it.
Right. White people, based on nothing more than the commonality of their skin color, are collectively responsible for things. Their individual circumstances and choices in life are irrelevant. White people are an interconnected hive mind entity. Got it.
Now, while those benefits and things that I've talked about, the cultural credit and the status exist,
says you.
Just going to start with a few examples.
Oh, examples? Goody.
Now then, who's heard of that phrase? Yeah. Okay. Boys will be boys. Brilliant. Brilliant. I'm pleased. I'm already there. That's great. It's an excuse.
It's an excuse. All right. What does saying the phrase, boys will be boys, excuse in our world?
Power and excuses are often found very, very closely together.
All boys have power because the magic words, boys will be boys, excuses what?
Boys will be boys. That spans lives from minor scrapes in the playground to adolescent misdemeanors to perhaps sometimes much more serious things as adults. It's a kind of mindset, and it's a ready-made excuse that lives out there in culture and can be called upon in hours of need, and it can all be part of a world of excuses. And that's something, is it really in our interest long term? I would say that boys will be boys limits our humanity.
The magic words of boys will be boys both excuses misdemeanors and more serious crimes, as well as limits our humanity. All right? How?
By limiting my accountability. And that the greater the accountability we have, the more fully we can be human.
The magic words, boys will be boys, excuses one's misdeeds, thus limiting one's accountability, thus limiting one's humanity. All right? Please provide us examples where simply saying, boys will be boys, is an acceptable defense in society against criminal wrongdoing. And then, please show me how a lack of accountability makes someone less human.
I don't want to live in a society that excuses my behaviour, or my sons, or my nephews, because we are boys or men.
When? When is being a man an acceptable defense against the consequences of criminal behavior? What society in the Western world affords men a legal or moral escape from crime on the basis of penis? Proof, please.
I'm a dad. I think I've just probably let the cat out of the bag with that. I've got a boy and a girl, and I've got 5 nephews. Sometimes, and it's not easy, it's a tough job, it's not glamorous, it's not fun. It is fun, sorry. Edit that. No, it is fun. It's always fun.
Was that a Freudian slip, maybe?
How could I say that in public? Oh my God. Yeah.
How could you say that in public? That being a dad isn't always fun? I dunno. Seriously, man, are you all right?
But sometimes we get a lot of credit. We get a lot of praise as men for doing the basics. Just for being there. Just for cooking the odd meal. Just for sweeping up now and then. Does that ring a bell with anybody? I don't know if anybody... Yeah, okay.
Taking an active and responsible role as a parent deserves no credit if you are a man. Got it.
I've been given praise for doing stuff that I would consider the absolute basics. And that isn't okay.
That isn't okay. Someone complimenting you on your parenting is not okay. So, how would you respond to someone who says something nice to you? Wow, you're a really great father. Take it back. Take it back. I'm a man, a pitiless, wretched creature. I deserve no praise or recognition, for I am a lowly, insignificant thing. Does it sound something like that?
Dads cannot babysit for their own kids. Fact.
Dads cannot babysit for their own kids. Fact. Why not?
I've never been told to smile by strangers in public.
Well, I have. Or are you smiling all of the time in public or something? Sounds a bit weird. But either way, what is your point?
I've never had comments made to me about my legs, or my hair, or my hips, or my backside, or anything. Never. And I'm nearly 50.
Never. In almost 50 years, no one has ever complimented you on any aspect of your physicality. Ever. Oh man, I totally believe you. But, okay, for the sake of argument, no one has ever complimented you on how you look. No one ever tells you to smile. No one pays attention to you at all, even though you are a man and are obviously the center of all power in the universe. So, are you complaining that you never get complimented? Or are you advocating to not be complimented? I mean, if it makes you happy to be ignored, well, good for you, I guess, though that sounds awfully sad and depressing. If it makes you unhappy that no one compliments you, then why is giving you praise for your parenting not okay? I am really confused. What is it that you do want?
What happens here? A great group, Hollaback, have a look at them. Hollaback. Hollaback, they did research with 17,000 women in 22 countries, 50% of whom had been fondled or groped before the age of 17, I believe. Staggering.
Okay, stipulating to those numbers, for the sake of argument, groping and fondling has what to do with goading someone into smiling or complimenting them on their looks? Are we wandering into words are violence territory here?
Now that's about us as men dominating space and feeling entitled to dominate space Is it really public space if we dominate it? That's an interesting question. I'm asking loads of questions and I'm giving no answers.
Indeed. You are saying a lot of words, but not providing any point to those words. I am glad we agree on something. But let's back up a second.
Now that's about us as men dominating space and feeling entitled to dominate space.
What is? Groping and fondling? Complimenting people on their looks or goading them to smile? That's about men dominating space. All men do this. No women do any of that. All men are powerful. All women are subjugated victims?
Is it really public space if we dominate it?
Is it public space if men dominate it? All right, well, setting aside the claim that men are just spatial dominant by nature, are men not part of the public?
Reality is pretty stark at times. If somebody asks me for a date and I say no, I would not expect in my wildest dreams to be kind of subject to violence or harassment as a result of that. But that unfortunately is not the case for some women, for quite a few women.
Some women. Oh, I mean, quite a few women. So, not all women. And thus, not all men. Okay, so how often does that sort of thing not happen? Golly, here I am asking all of these questions like I expect any answers. Silly me.
And we need to ask ourselves why that is. What is that sense of entitlement and where does it come from?
Well, obviously, it's the magic words of boys will be boys, which indemnifies men from any consequences from violence or abuse against women. Duh.
Part of this hugely complex parcel is double standards and hypocrisy. He's a player. She's
a what? Is this the kind of self-censoring that you practice as well as preach? Okay, men are never called sluts or fuckboys. Men are never verbally denigrated for being promiscuous. And of course, women never call other women sluts or hoes or skanks. Got it.
The language is entirely different, and there are many, many, many more ways to describe sexually active and sexually autonomous women than there are for men, and they tend to be denigratory, whereas for men they tend to be praise.
Tend to be. Based on what? And using judgmental language against someone is what? Not allowed? Why? Because you don't approve?
A few pictures of power before I swiftly move on. This is what power looks like, generally speaking, on a global level.
Whoa. Hold on a second. Who was in that picture that you just flipped past so very quickly? Well, golly, if it isn't Angela Merkel, German Chancellor since 2005. One of the most powerful people in Europe, if not in the entire world. Yeah, golly, you're right. Women can never attain power. I mean, I obviously have more power than Angela Merkel. Because penis.
I was a meeting for women's rights in Saudi Arabia.
Do you mean to tell me that in a country that actually has laws and religious customs that oppress and devalue women, that women are not allowed to hold much, if any, power? Well, then it's a good thing that we are better than that in the West, isn't it? You know, the West, in which you live, and which has men in it.
Birthday cards. I think I'll be one more minute. Birthday cards. Okay, as a dad, you tend to, or an auntie or an uncle or whatever, or a cousin, you buy lots of birthday cards for your kids and for their friends.
Birthday cards. I cannot wait to see how Hallmark helps to extend male dominance.
If you go out, check out birthday cards, check out the messages on them, because hidden in there is all kinds of wrong, I would say very simply.
There are hidden wrongs in birthday cards. Like, if I read one backwards, does it tell me to worship Satan?
I checked out one major UK retailer and I looked in the cards for him section. There were 0 cards, 0, which mentioned friendship, which we all agreed was vital for human happiness. 0, nil. In the cards for her section, there were multiple. Special friend, friends like you are rare and few, I love you, thank you for being my friend, all kinds of stuff. So we've got a taboo on male friendship openly expressed.
Really? Male friendship, openly expressed, is a taboo because of your definitive research example of one retailer's selection of birthday cards. Got it.
And we have an overemphasis on women's emotional labour. It's permission, but it's almost an instruction. You do the emotional work. Don't use those words near me.
Yes, there is no evidence of a biological difference in gender responses to emotion versus stoicism and caregiving versus problem solving. There has also been no marketing research to show that women prefer greeting cards promoting an emotional sentiment versus research showing what men prefer to purchase. The greeting card companies are telling society how to behave through their products. Society is not telling the card companies what to produce based on supply and demand. Got it.
Now the word love, the most important word in the world probably, I think, on a par with oxygen.
The word oxygen is not important. The gas we have named oxygen is essential. I know, I am nitpicking. I'm just saying.
Apart from the ghastliness of that, but that's real, that's on sale. Those things are on sale, they're real.
The ghastliness of those two items. Yes, it's very ghastly. Jokes made on baby clothes about the tendency of women to find babies cute on the one hand, and a humorous sentiment of protection over one's daughter against, well, presumably men, who are all evil gropers without accountability, of course. And so I would have thought that that second one would have been right up our speaker's alley.
I did some more research on clothing messages for boys and girls, aged, I think it was 18 months to 12 years. The boys were captains, champions, winners, and adventurers, and they did stuff, and they found stuff, and they won stuff, and the girls shone and sparkled and smiled.
Are we really doing the chicken and egg thing again? Okay, have at it.
In fact, lots of the girls meowed like kittens. It seems that they were kitten people who wanted a pony and who loved their friends.
Yes, girls don't really like kittens or ponies, nor do they love their friends. Clothing companies are making them think that way, because girls and boys cannot think for themselves. Got it.
There were none. This is one major retailer of clothing.
Ah, yes. The infallible sample size, of one.
There were no messages at all about emotion for the boys. They don't exist. Check it out.
No, you're the one making the claim and the presentation. You should have checked it out and well beyond one single retailer. But I am curious to know how clothes that say,
The boys were captains, champions, winners, and adventurers. And they did stuff, and they found stuff, and they won stuff.
I wonder how things like that are not promoting emotion, like pride, excitement, self-confidence, etc. Or are those just not correct emotions for boys to be feeling? Because, obviously, praising boys for their efforts and achievements is not okay.
Please find exceptions. That's great. That's a sign of hope.
Or it's a sign that you don't know what you're talking about, since you just told us that such things do not exist.
The problem is that hidden in plain sight in our daily life, in our shops, in our supermarkets, online, is an incredible amount of work to categorize boys, to believe that it's okay to be one way, and similarly, to instruct girls how to perform, and it's often for the pleasure of boys visually. That doesn't seem to work.
For you. That doesn't seem to work for you. Maybe you should try manning up.
So I'd just like to leave you with those thoughts, and thank you very much for being here.
Well, yes, you have left me with those thoughts. And here's what I think. I think that our speaker has a problem with how his own sense of masculinity compares with the rest of the world, so he needs men to behave more like he does. Otherwise, our speaker is, for lack of a better phrase, the odd man out. And that can indeed be a lousy headspace to inhabit. Men need to become less like men and more like women. Less ambitious, less aggressive, and more emotional, more submissive. In other words, guys, loathe yourself for what you are, like our speaker does. Understand that at any given moment, you are on the precipice of committing a crime or hurting a woman. And all that it takes is the poison of self-confidence, the toxic allure of internalized praise, because that is merely red meat that will unleash the beast within, the terrible monster that all men really are. As always, thank you for watching.